Hello everyone. Today we have the privilege of hosting Chef Sanjiv Verma, a culinary maestro with over 34 years of experience in the hospitality industry. Chef Verma is not just a chef but a visionary leader, consultant and mentor in the culinary world. Based in Chandigarh, he is the driving force behind the renowned Pashtun restaurant and serves as the president of the Chefs Association of Five Rivers. Get ready for an inspiring conversation about his culinary journey, his passion for preserving and innovating traditional flavors, and his invaluable insights into the ever-evolving world of hospitality. Thank you, Chef. Thank you so much. It is almost a dream for me. मैं आप ही से पढ़ा हूँ और आज मैं आपके साथ यहाँ बैठ के इंडस्ट्रीज़ के यू आर हमारी इंडस्ट्री के वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट लीडर्स अगर हम उसकी बात करें. नाउ यू आर ऑल्सो दी प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ आर पंजाब की जो शेफ़ एसोसिएशन है CAFR. यस प्लीज़, है ना. सो मैनी कॉन्ग्रेचुलेशंस.
थैंक यू.
टू स्टार्ट द पॉडकास्ट, थोड़ा सा अपनी जर्नी के बारे में बताइए शेफ. 34 years, massive experience.
It's about 1986, so could be about 38, 39 years. But I mean, my journey by God's grace has been not very hard. Either I was lucky or it's been smooth, and I have struggled. I mean, not that I haven't struggled, right? But there are no regrets in life. वो जिसे कहते हैं ना कि ये was a bad patch. I don't think that ever came. Even if it came for the better, you know. Like about in 1987, I started my own restaurant first and I closed it down. But if you call that a bad patch, the second restaurant which I opened, which is Pashtun now, was a success because I was a failure there.
पश्तून की बात करते हैं. अगर मतलब ऑफ कोर्स यू नो आई हैव सीन अ लॉट ऑफ सो मेनी वीडियोस जहाँ पे बहुत सारे सेलिब्रिटीज़ आल्सो हैव प्रेज्ड द फूड, है ना. बट चलो चंडीगढ़ के हिसाब से बात कर लेते हैं. ये अपने आप में एक कलनरी लैंडमार्क है, द रेस्टोरेंट, है ना. ऐसा क्या डिफरेंट है पश्तून में?
इसका कोई वी आर नॉट डिफरेंट. We are doing the same thing over the past 34 years, and we have evolved over it. Like, we're not using any microwaves, we're not using any pressure cookers, we're using the same age-old techniques which are there 60, 70, 80, 100 years old. Yes, a few improvements left and right, a few ingredients left and right. We haven't probably changed our recipes for the last 35 years. एक दो एडिशंस अप एंड डाउन, जैसे सोया चॉप मार्केट में आ गया which is getting popular, so you keep adding on to it. Like sourdough roti has come into play, so you keep on adding on to it and you keep reducing things which are going out of fashion. So let's put it this way, that we are the basic necessities of the fashion industry.
Okay,
right? We're not the uppermost layer of the fashion industry that you change your hairstyle and all. I mean, the hair remains the same, right?
Ji. Quite a simple answer, I must say that. How has your role, I mean, you being as the president of Chefs Association of Five Rivers now, shaped your perspective on the, hospitality industry? I was one of the opening founders of CAFR, and so I've been a vice president for the last 9-10 years since its inception. So it was a very natural progression that I became the president. So it's not, it hasn't changed our perspective. The perspective remains the same, that chefs were not a very as a community were not very gathered. And there are lots of problems which keep coming on, whether personal or professional and things like that, which one needs to talk to or get into it and, get support of fellow chefs and stuff like that. And then also getting recognition, like this
the chefs on an individual basis do get a recognition, but they don't get recognized by their own community. So one, and the other thing is that, how do we get new chefs to make their pathway through? So that's another role which I personally feel is very important.
So if we'll talk about our association, right? How does it actually help to the newcomer of our industry?
You see, first and foremost is that they get to interact with us, right? So we keep having these small functions at different colleges whenever they want, and we send our representatives there, and they get to know the amount of pride we have in our own profession.
Yes, absolutely.
That's most important, and then they some of them keep asking you questions like, what is the best way? Should I go to continental kitchen or Indian kitchen or Chinese or whatever? I mean, they have their own doubts, which sometimes are very stupid, but for them it's a doubt, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And they're lost for their career because they cannot foresee their career, because the teaching staff is so focused on teaching them that, to counsel every student so minutely is not there. So, but the fact is that all those students who do come to us are the real ones who are interested in being a chef. You see, they're like just that 3%, 5% who would want to become the real chefs, Otherwise, they're doing it because their mom sends them and their parents send them to college and stuff like that.
Now, I mean, since we're talking about budding chefs, I wanted to talk about like all together as an. आपको लगता है कि क्या अब टाइम आ गया कि हमारे करिकुलम में थोड़ा सा चेंजेस आने चाहिए? आई मीन हमारी इंडस्ट्री इज़ क्वाइट डिपेंडेंट ऑन प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज एज कम्पेयर टू थियोरेटिकल नॉलेज, और ये मेरी सोच है. आई मीन हाउ वुड यू टेक?
अभी भी इंडस्ट्री टू कॉलेज इंटीग्रेशन हुआ नहीं है. दे बीन ट्राइंग अ लॉट. मतलब पहले 2-4 हफ्ते 6 हफ्ते की इंडस्ट्री ट्रेनिंग होती थी. अब कई कॉलेजेस ने इसको 6 महीने की कर दिया है, कुछ कॉलेजेस ने इसको साल की कर दिया है. बट दैट्स स्टिल नॉट गुड इनफ फॉर द इंटीग्रेशन पार्ट ऑफ इट. इट्स लाइक व्हेन यू टॉक अबाउट इंटीग्रेशन, दे आर नॉट गेटिंग दैट प्रैक्टिकल नॉलेज. ओके, कि अंदर ही कोई कैफेटेरिया है होटल में या एक रेस्टोरेंट है which is actually giving a live version of what's happening in the industry. मतलब आपके पास एक रेस्टोरेंट होता है, वहाँ लेक्चरर्स खाना खाते हैं, but that's a very minute thing. जब लेक्चरर पैसा देगा, खाना खाएगा तो गाली भी देगा. वो तो फ्री में खाना खा रहा है, उसको जो दे दिया ठीक है.
वो चैलेंजेस नहीं आते,
वो रियल लाइफ सर्कमस्टेंस नहीं दे रहे. कभी हो गया तो साल में एक बार कॉलेज ने कुछ कर लिया, वो भी जबरदस्ती पेरेंट्स आए, ये आया वो है. बट दैट रियल लाइफ चैलेंज, आई मीन इफ यू गो अब्रॉड, लाइक आई हैव टॉट फॉर Saskatchewan Polytechnic, they have real life cafeterias where the students and the staff come and pay.
Okay.
And the students from the kitchen and students from the restaurant, they actually serve them the a la carte menu or a table d'hôte menu, and they charge them for it. Okay. So that's real life, when a student himself is paying for the meal, he's going to say, ये French fry ठीक नहीं है, ये burger ठीक नहीं है, or whatever, ये दाल मखनी ठीक नहीं है. So you got to be that pro rata perfect, because this is a no mistake industry. I mean, there's not even a 1% chance. आप 1% गलती करोगे तो वो कस्टमर आपको बिल नहीं देगा.
Agreed. आपके हिसाब से what does it take to get succeed in our industry?
Nothing. It's the one. It is hard work. 2, it is knowledge. 3, but overall, it's good luck. God has to be at your side, and you got to be. This industry is not made for people who are introverts. You have to be an extrovert. If you're not an extrovert, okay, forget it. Leave the industry. It is a fashion industry. It is bigger than life. It's like the movie industry. It's like you got to be bigger than life. Otherwise, अगर आप sophisticated in 5 stars and 4 stars and you know upper middle class restaurants and all.
जी.
You have to portray that you are very big. You know, something like Salman Khan, 5 feet something, का poster लगता है, which is about 55 feet something. So, you know, it's like you can't go down. You got to portray that you are the best, and you have to believe in yourself that you are the best. If you don't, and you got to give it out in the market that you are giving something which is value for money.
You've mentioned that value for money. Our college की जो फीस है अभी, राइट, जो हमारे न्यू कमर्स हैं, so they always keep saying that I mean their mindset is that we've spent XYZ amount on our study.
Let's say lakh rupees a year.
हमें immediately अब अच्छे पैसे चाहिए. ये कहाँ imbalance हो रहा है?
देखो, imbalance ये हो रहा है कि हम इसको होटल मैनेजमेंट बोलते हैं, और the sad part is कि the student doesn't study management over there.
जी.
Okay. जो जितने मैनेजमेंट के सब्जेक्ट्स हैं, दे आर लाइक अ साइड सब्जेक्ट्स. वो पार्ट टाइम टीचर्स आते हैं, पढ़ा के चले जाते हैं, अकाउंट्स एंड HR एंड ऑल दीस थिंग्स. जो मेन कंसंट्रेशन होता है F&B, कुकरी, हाउसकीपिंग, फ्रंट ऑफिस. दीज आर द मेन कोर सब्जेक्ट्स. द फैक्ट इज दैट यू आर जस्ट अ ग्रेजुएट एंड नॉट अ पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट. तो आप इंडस्ट्री, अब एक BSc, BA, BCom का बच्चा जब मार्केट में निकलता है तो उससे तो ज़्यादा सैलरी ले रहे हो, प्लस खाना फ्री ले रहे हो, एंड यू आर इन अ बेटर एनवायरनमेंट. बट नॉट गोइंग बाय दैट स्टैंडर्ड, द नंबर ऑफ कॉलेजेस आर मोर देन द नंबर ऑफ मैनेजर्स रिक्वायर्ड. So what happens is that you get supervisory or base level staff jobs. So obviously you won't get that, and you're not trained to be a manager.
Agreed.
Right? And to be a manager, you're not even mature to be a manager when you're 21. So you got to give yourself time to become a supervisor, learn it from there, and then go and become a manager. Not everybody has the capability of being a management trainee.
Yes.
Okay? And वो भी 2 साल 3 साल के बाद, मतलब you still become a assistant manager kind of thing.
हाँ, but अब तो over the period of time, like when जब हम आपके अंडर पढ़ रहे थे, तो वहाँ तो मैनेजमेंट ट्रेनिंग का टैग लेना अपने आप में एक अचीवमेंट थी. बट नाउ डेज अभी मुझे लगता है कि वो दैट हैज़ बीन स्टोलन अवे फ्रॉम द स्टूडेंट्स एज वेल. इज इट अ मार्केटिंग स्ट्रेटजी और इज इट बीन, आई मीन, इज इट अ सेटअप?
Still, I mean, hotels and companies do become management trainees, but they're the brighter lot, you know. Someone who have the capability of being a manager after 2 years. Otherwise, you got to have that mindset. Not everybody is a born leader.
Yes.
Not everybody can be a trained leader. So they look for people who are born leaders or who can be trained to be a leader. Right? I mean, otherwise you would require maturity over a period of time, let's say 2-3 years in the industry, and then you would be capable of being trained as a leader.
Agreed.
Management is something which sometimes comes from within, when you're born with it, or you're trained for it.
Agreed.
Not everybody can command a team of 30 people or 40 people.
Chef, as far as I know, I think you've traveled across the globe. So, according to you, what are the key trends which you have observed, comparing Indian and global cuisine?
Look, Indian cuisine is far more difficult and far more complicated than any other cuisine, except, I can't even say exception. There's no exception. We are the most complicated and the most diverse cuisine, right? Over a period of time, what will happen or what can happen is that the standards of service industry in India are far superior than standards of service industry in the European countries, America.
Agreed.
And all that.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're nowhere compared to us, and we still glorify their cuisine. I don't know why. But if you see our cuisine from North India, in fact, North Indian is probably the easiest cuisine to go about. I mean, you look at Kerala cuisine and you look at cuisine of Gujarat and so on and so forth. They are complicated to the extent that you got to be pro rata perfect. But unfortunately, these couple of these cuisines are not as glorified as the North Indian cuisine, the tandoor and the Mughlai and all these things. I don't know why, but hopefully they should be coming up in a big way. And I know of quite a few restaurants now of South Indian cuisine and from Maharashtrian cuisine, and which are coming up in a big way.
आपने बहुत कंसल्टिंग किया एज इन फॉर इंटरनेशनल ब्रांड्स अपार्ट फ्रॉम इंडिया. सो आपके हिसाब से व्हाट वर द की चैलेंजेस?
Key challenges is that when you go abroad,
yes,
the ingredients do not match with the ingredients with us. So, something like the onions itself, right? From base start, the oil to the onions to, that procurement and that taste doesn't come because, if you're making lamb, goat in India and you're making lamb abroad and you get this New Zealand lamb, it doesn't taste like home, Okay. Even the tomatoes, I mean, like our tomatoes are far more superior. I mean, वहाँ के टमाटर अगर आप लो तो उसमें नींबू से भी खट्टे नहीं होते यार, विनेगर डालना पड़ता है उसके अंदर, like. जी. So there's a lot of outsourcing of up to care. It's become so much more easier is because the frozen technology and the retort technology which has come in, and the amount of companies which are exporting ready-made gravies from India to all these countries is unbelievable. I mean, I know of out of the, there should be about 300 odd companies in India which are exporting gravies, and each one is exporting to a tune of about 10 to 20 crores worth of gravies abroad to Indian restaurants, because there's so many Indian restaurants who are not getting the same taste out of the onions they procure from Mexico and so on and so forth places.
नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन थोड़ा अटपटा सा है. लाइक इज इट अब टाइम आ गया आपके हिसाब से कि हमारी इंडस्ट्री को लाइक एज इन हॉस्पिटैलिटी लाइक जैसे एक बाहर देशों में एक रिकॉग्निशन मिलती है दैट अच्छा मेरे बच्चे ने हॉस्पिटैलिटी मैनेजमेंट किया है. हमारे
टाइम आ चुका है, टाइम बहुत पहले आ चुका था. ये तो हमारा टाइम था वेर जब टाइम ही नहीं था.
जी.
इनफैक्ट आई नो दैट for chefs to get married was also a problem because वो लड़के उस टाइम पे ना arranged marriage वाला तो पूरा ही होता था, and people used to come to the hotel and say ये करता क्या है, I mean, chef है. Chef means मतलब I remember my executive chef was about 2-3 years elder to me, and उसकी engagement हो गई and they came to ask कि ये करता क्या है, तो बोले executive chef है. I mean, he had the same salary as the deputy general manager, but बोला करता क्या है, बोला शेफ है, मतलब किचन का हेड है. बोला हेड कुक है, बोले हाँ हेड कुक है. उसकी एंगेजमेंट टूट गई. सो आई मीन इट्स जस्ट अ जोक एग्जांपल, बट द फैक्ट रिमेनिंग दैट नाउ शेफ्स are getting their value, and in fact they're glorified, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, there are these celebrity chefs who come on televisions and and charge money for even ribbon cutting and stuff like that, which I'm pretty proud of. They've done a lot of good. They've done a lot of good.
If any Indian celebrity can go to cut a ribbon for then get charged, why not?
Vikas Mehra and all these people. Kunal Kapoor, for that matter, he's from Chandigarh college itself.
Chef, how would you describe an ideal hospitality professional?
How would I describe? Sway, sophisticated, glorified, larger than life, and very outgoing, very, very, very outgoing personality. That would be my concept of a good hospitality guy.
Moving towards the next question, as a consultant and mentor, what qualities do you believe are essential for aspiring chefs and hospitality managers to get succeed?
You have got to do the same thing differently. I mean, you got to keep thinking about new ideas, right? Because if you're doing the same thing, like आप दाल रोटी खिला रहे हो, तो expect कि 60 रुपए पर खाना मिलेगा. पर यही आप रोटी दाल को सोने के फ्राइंग पैन में तड़का दे रहे हो एंड यू सेल इट फॉर 500 rupees. Now that is, it's the same thing, right? But you got to be very innovative. You can't make the same movie again. Sholay cannot be repeated. I mean, you got to make different versions, different styles and stuff like that. So you have to be very, very innovative. If you are just run of the mill, then you're a commie, you're not a chef. A chef has to be very innovative and has to have managerial skills too, bottom line.
Coming back to Pashtun, massively successful restaurant, but ये बिना team के possible है नहीं.
No.
So how do you keep your team motivated, self-centered?
I don't know. My staff hasn't left me for the last 30 years. My staff turnover ratio is less than 5. Look, they're family and I'm family to them, okay?
All right.
So, the way I joke with them is कि तुम्हारी भी कब्र यहाँ खुलेगी और मेरी भी. You're not leaving me and I'm not leaving you. Beat it.
We've already talked about our industry कि अब industry ना competitive level पे चली गई है and you keep telling कि शोले दोबारा नहीं बन सकती. So what advice would you give to hospitality students जो अभी newcomers हैं about standing out in our industry?
I know, be proud of yourself, have that attitude within yourself and think like a manager. Never think like a worker. The problem is that आप इंडस्ट्री में जाते हो, आपको 12-12 घंटे कई बार ट्रेनिंग करनी पड़ती है and you're the older staff or the staff which is there, management को गाली दे रहा होता है, not understanding that you will be the manager next morning, right? Think like a manager, think like the owner, that's all you can succeed. When you start thinking like a worker, that's where you plateau out. फिर आपका बढ़ने का कोई चांस नहीं है, ना मैनेजमेंट आपको मौका देगी ना दूसरी कंपनी आपको मौका, बिकॉज यू स्टॉप्ड योर ओन ग्रोथ. आपने वो बनने, आपने सोचा ही नहीं कि ये मैनेजर मेरे को क्यों इंस्ट्रक्शन दे रहा है या ओनर से ये क्यों इंस्ट्रक्शन आई है. अगर बहुत ही अनरीजनेबल इंस्ट्रक्शन है, आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड, बट the management would want a growth, and if the company grows, then you grow, no?
Talking about those working hours, 12 you've mentioned, why is that? और ये आज से नहीं है,
अब तो बहुत कम हो गया.
हाँ, अभी आकर कम हुआ है, लेकिन अभी भी मेजॉरिटी तो शायद वही है कि जहाँ पे हमारे लड़के अभी भी मिनिमम 12 घंटे तो काम कर ही रहे हैं. Why is that? हम इसको इतने लंबे टाइम से हम इसको अभी तक मैनेज क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे हैं? वाई इज दैट कि हमारे लड़के को 12 या 14 घंटे कई बार तो काम करना पड़ता है.
अभी हमारे यहाँ ना अभी ऑटोमेशन हुआ नहीं है. जैसे जैसे ऑटोमेशन होता जाएगा ये सब कम होता जाएगा, राइट? ऑटोमेशन इन द सेंस डिश वॉशर्स एंड वैक्यूम क्लीनर्स एंड अभी भी हम, एंड लेबर इज सो चीप, राइट? अब यू आर नॉट गेटिंग लेबर. You're not getting the specialized labor. So now the labor is demanding their worth. So it's a cycle which comes in, right? नहीं पे करोगे तो वो जाएंगे, ज़्यादा काम लोगे तो वो किसी और इंडस्ट्री में चले जाएंगे, और वो हो गया, ख़त्म हो गया. That is over and out. Now the hotel management colleges are no more hotel oriented. They cater to the entire service industry of India, and it's the fastest growing industry. Okay, from banks to hospitals to airports to management companies to malls to hotels and restaurants, and the restaurants opening is like mad and crazy. So anything, even the BPOs are hiring only hotel graduates because they are trained to be in the service industry.
Agreed.
So now a hotel pass out student is not dependent on the hotel itself, right? He'll say like, bullshit, you're not treating me properly, I'm moving. Even for that matter, sales, I mean like the entire world is open to the service industry guys for sales.
You mentioned कि automation नहीं है हमारी इंडस्ट्री में.
हो जाएगा.
आपके हिसाब से कब तक, कितना टाइम?
Maybe I foresee another 5 years and done with, yeah, I mean there'll always be those people who cannot afford it, but the fact is that there used to be a time when the room to employee ratio was 1:5, 1:7, like that. Up the room to employee ratio is coming down to 1:3 on an average, but I mean internationally it's still 1:5. So the day it comes down to 1:5, everything. You see, you go abroad, right? Your morning breakfast is laid out by the receptionist.
Yes.
And not by a waiter. यहाँ तो 5-5, 6-6 वेटर एक होटल में आपको सर्विस कर रहे हैं, ले रहे हैं, तो people will have to try to understand also that, you know, services are not coming free. I mean, even like in a company like Hyatt and things like that abroad, you got to take your own baggage up, yeah. There are no bellboys. अब यहाँ 3-star होटल क्या, मतलब 1-star होटल में भी मेरा सामान जरा
कोई
में पहुँचा
लेकर जाता है, बिल्कुल. फॉर प्रोफेशनल्स जिनके पास लेट्स से 3 से 5 साल का एक्सपीरियंस अब आ गया है, आपके हिसाब से अब उनको किसके ऊपर फोकस करना चाहिए सो दैट दे बिकम गुड मैनेजर्स?
That's a difficult question. I don't know. It's all circumstantial, you know. It's all what do you want to be, and how do you take your team along.
Right.
How do you know? It's not like you're the boss, right? You're the big brother. You're the big sister. You're taking your people along. You're not. Your team means our team, right? So this understanding is very difficult for people to make between ours and mine, you know. Like, fine, when you're talking to your boss, you say my team.
Yes.
But when you're talking to your own team, you say we, right? Not me. Now, there's a very thin line difference between, you know, like.
Having the right attitude, how is it important?
Oh, it's
in our industry?
that's the only thing, you know. Attitude, whether, I mean, whatever, you got to have that attitude that you will make it one day.
All right. थोड़ा सा फ्यूचर की तरफ है ना, हाउ डू यू थिंक यू नो AI का अभी बहुत सारी चीज़ें, हाउ इज इट गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट आवर इंडस्ट्री? मुझे लगता है ऑलरेडी थोड़ा सा कहीं ना कहीं हो गया शुरू, बट
Yeah, of course, but we can't, but I think for the better. I got very positive views about the future of AI coming into the industry, and very, very positive, you know. Like, it's always been that whatever technology is coming, whether it's the French fries which replaced the old style of making potato fingers in India, or in the industry, or wafers, or for that matter, you know, mayonnaise for that matter, you know, we no more making mayonnaise in the hotels. So this, for that matter, software. When I entered the industry, telephones भी हम लोग हाथ से connect किया करते थे, you know, there used to be that mechanical thing, right? So now nobody even has a telephone board here. फिर धीरे धीरे एक सिंगल आदमी वहाँ पे बोर्ड पे कनेक्ट होने लग गया. अब तो वो इतना ऑटोमेटेड है कि कुछ करना ही नहीं पड़ता है
जी.
इट्स ऑल ऑटोमेटिक. तो AI आएगा तो और आसानी होगी. इट शुड गेट बेटर. व्हाई वुड इट गेट वर्स, यू नो? व्हाई इट अभी भी इट डिडंट टेक अप एनी जॉब्स.
हाँ, I mean, I think it really helped in terms of putting up some system into our,
क्या मतलब
सिस्टम को इम्प्रूव ही किया है अभी तक.
मतलब अब सारा कंप्यूटराइजेशन. नहीं तो हर रूम्स में हम लोग टैग लगाते थे, दो जगह टैग लगाते थे, रूम नंबर क्या है, नेम क्या है. यू जस्ट ऑटोमेटेड.
What's your vision for the next generation of chefs and hospitality leaders?
So there'll be two types of chefs. Okay, one who there'll be no mid path. One who do the general thing, you know, hospitals and this and big caterings and all. And one would be like who really specialize in that top era of food making. It's like another 5 years, max 10 years, is that India will have a lot of Michelin star like restaurants. That's what is coming in, you know. But I don't know how it is going to pan out and things like that. Only God can say. But this is what I feel, that a lot of chefs in India, I mean, are now well aware. The youngsters especially are, whoever wants to be a chef and are really dedicated, are doing a wonderful job. It sometimes surprises me that You know, हमारे time में we were bloody nothing compared to the kids who have learnt all these things, you know. It's like molecular gastronomy is also passé now, you know.
एंड ऐसे कोई 5 स्किल शेफ जो बहुत क्रिटिकल हैं फॉर आवर बडिंग शेफ्स और फॉर दैट मैटर यू नो टू द न्यू कमर टू आवर इंडस्ट्री.
You know, I don't know, my whole theory, my whole understanding of thing is changing every day. So अगर आज आप पूछोगे तो शायद अलग होगा और अगर 2 महीने बाद पूछोगे तो शायद अलग होगा. But now I feel is that you got to have a basic knowledge of gastronomy. कि मतलब how is this going to actually feel in your mouth and after you've eaten it? Okay, that's most important. Then basic cooking techniques आपको आनी चाहिए because 80% of the time what happens is that basics अगर नहीं आ रहे तो you can't go ahead. मतलब आप एक मेन्यू तैयार कर लोगे, 2 कर लोगे, but not beyond that, right? So अगर आपकी basics clear हैं, you got to be hardworking, intelligent. That's it. And then you have a very artistic viewpoint of life. Because now what happens is that everything's based on art and fashion, you know, and even food and this thing. If you want to glorify yourself, you got to be fashionable in your food. Now everybody goes to a good restaurant, clicks from there and says, "This is what I got. This is what I ate today." You know. This is how it was served. This is how it tasted, and so even in taste, and you got to be artistic. You got to understand what's in today.
शेफ ये लास्ट राउंड है. दिस इज़ व्हाट वी कॉल रैपिड फायर राउंड. सो आपको सोचना नहीं है, आप आंसर चलो थोड़े से मे बी लंबे दे सकते हो, बट यूजुअली 1 या 2 वर्ड, ज़्यादा नहीं. ठीक है?
Yes or no भी चलेगा?
नहीं ये yes no वाले है ही नहीं इसमें शेफ. Alright, favorite dish to cook?
Butter chicken.
One ingredient you can't live without?
Peppercorn.
Most memorable moment in your career?
An opening Pashtun.
A restaurant anywhere in the world you admire?
I don't know, my own.
One book or resource every hospitality professional should read?
Indian or international?
Entirely.
Cooking by the Indian masters by Kalra.
Done, chef. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was so amazing to have, and you know, I understand काफ़ी busy थे आप, and then yet मुझे time बहुत लगा, but thank you so much, chef.